Hello, class. Getting ready for this week, and I wanted to give you a video on how to do negative exponent and zero exponents. Okay, so that's the next portion of law of exponents rules. Okay, and trying to simplify or simplify them into small expressions. Okay, so again, the reason why we're doing this first is because most of our stuff going throughout the year is going to be mostly going to be working with this as well. So we need to learn this and get this right so we can build for the future. All right. So let me go ahead and let me pull this down for a second. Oh, there you go. Okay. So let me talk about how to figure out negative exponents and zero exponents. Okay. So let's talk about what we do know, and then we'll talk about what we don't know. Okay. So right here on this left side, we have 2 to the power of 1. Okay. We have 2 to the power of 2, 2 to the power of 3, and 2 to the power of 2 raised to the power of 4. So we know that 2 to the power of 1 is basically is going to be 2 by itself. So that's going to be just 2. All right, I'm going slow because this thing is starting to lag on me here. Again, I don't want to talk about that, but I am. Okay. Next one here is 2 to the power of 2, so that's 2 times 2, so that would be 4. Okay. And then we have this one, 2 to the power of 3, that's 2 times 2 times 2, that would be 8. Okay. And then the next one is 2 to the power of 4, which is 16 because it keeps doubling up and down here as we go along. All right. Oh, kind of messed it up a little bit. Let me erase that. All right. Okay, good. So, all right, so let's look at the pattern that we have here. Okay, so as you can see, if we're going upwards of 2 to the power 1, 2 to the power 2, 2 to the power 3, we're always multiplying by 2. So every time we go here, we're going to multiply by 2. This is going to be multiplied by 2. This is going to be multiplied by 2. And then this is going to be multiplied by 2. Okay? All right. So, but what if we decide to go the opposite way? Oh, man, that's really lagging here. All right. So, what if we decide to go the opposite way? Okay, so what if we decide to go upwards? We got start 16, we go to 8, we go to 4, we go to 2. So if you can see the pattern going upwards, it's basically divided by 2. So we downwards as we go away from 1, we're gonna in the exponents we're gonna be multiplying by 2. If we go upwards, we're going back to 1. We're gonna divide by 2, which is obviously the inverse. So let's think about what would be 2 to the power of 0. So basically, if you think about it, if we're dividing 4 divided by 2 gives us 2, 8 divided by 4 gives us 4, et cetera, et cetera. So if we have 2 divided by 2, this is always going to equal to 1. Okay, so this is always going to be 1. All right, so therefore, zero exponent rule. So zero exponent rule basically means this. So 0 means it's always going to equal 1. So zero exponent is always going to equal 1, regardless of whatever the thing. So you could write 1,200. Oh, that's a terrible 2 right there. Well, so you can write 1,243 to the power of 0. That's always going to equal 1. Okay, because again, that's always the rule in that. Anything to the power of 0 is going to be equal 1. All right. So let's go even farther here. So let's move it on here. So what if we went to 2 to the negative 1? Okay, 2 to the negative 2. And I won't go any farther. I think 2 to the 3 should be enough for people to see the pattern here. Okay, so as we can tell, we said we divide by 2 and we go up. So here we want to go up to this. Okay, and so basically we divide by 2. Okay, I'm going to try to keep this as slow as I can, but we'll see. All right, so we divide by 2. So we'll do the same thing. So what is 1 divided by 2? Well, that's going to equal 1/2. Okay, so 1 divided by 2 is going to equal 1/2, because basically 2 split, I mean, 1 split into 2, 1 split into 2 is going to be, is a half. Okay, so that's a half. What if we have, now we divide 1/2 by another 2, that's going to give us 1/4. Okay, 1/4. Now the next one would be 1/8. Okay, so if you think about it, what is actually happening here? All right, so the idea is we're putting all the values over 1. Okay, so basically it's looking like this. So if you want to make another equal sign here, hopefully it's not that close, but better than what I have. Okay, so you make another equal sign here. You got 1, 2 over 1. This one, another equal sign. This is 1, 2 over 2. Okay, and this one would be equal to 1, 2 over 3. Okay, so anytime you have a negative exponent, okay, a negative exponent, that means it's going to be over 1. Okay, it's always going to be over 1. All right. Now, there's some rules that flips it, but again, think about it in terms of always taking the reciprocal or the opposite. Okay, so the opposite of 2 to the -1 is going to be 1/2, et cetera, as we go along in the process. Hopefully, you kind of get that idea of just how negatives work, negative exponents work. But if you don't, we're going to continue to practice it in over the next 2 days, and hopefully, you get it by that time. Okay. So let's use let's do some example problems. And like I said, I'll let you guys go and try some problems on your own in the lesson today. Okay. I have some harder example problems, but I'm going to probably, I'm going to stop this tape around here. And then I'm going to put those, it's just flying away. But I'm going to stop this tape around in a few minutes after I do this one page. Actually, I'll do 2 pages. And then the last page, if you want to know how to do that, I will have a separate video on the last page, okay? And that will be how to do the hard questions that we're going to be building up to for next week. I mean, sorry, for Thursday and Friday, okay? So let's look at the first one here. So rewrite using positive exponents. So we have a negative exponent here. We got to rewrite it to use a positive exponent, okay? So that's basically the same thing we have here. So that would be 1, okay? 1, 2 to the power of 3. Okay, and that's how you would make it positive, or it'd be 1 over 8. And that would be the answer. Okay, and that's how it would work. This one, we have x, so that's the variable, and we have that's the base, and we have -5. So that's pretty easy. We're just going to put that over 1. So it's 1 x over 5. Okay, so that's what today is mostly focused on, is basically rewriting negative exponents into positive exponents. Okay, so that's the big focus for this for today. All right. So the last one is kind of tricky. Okay, so think about it. This is the coefficient of 2, and we have the base of y, and then we have -4. Okay, so how do we work this one? Okay, that's the question. All right, so let's think about it here. Okay, the 2, if we separate this apart, this basically means 2 times y to the -4. Okay, 2 times a number to the power of -4. So we don't know what that number is, but we can split it apart. So we want to make this positive, so we got to put that over 1. So if you think about it, the 2 would stay where it's at, on the top, and then we would put a little multiplication sign right here, a little dot for multiplication, and then we put 1 over y to the 4th. Okay, and the reason why is so we can hold it true. So again, once we do that, we multiply across, and we would have 2 over y to the 4th. Okay, so the thing to remember is the exponent, the base, and the exponents are the ones that are going to go down, go underneath, not the coefficient. Okay, the coefficient is going to stay where it's at. Okay, so again, just remember the base and the exponent is the one that's going to go down on the bottom. Okay, hopefully you got that information together and we're able to try work on this, but we'll try some of these problems as we go along. So I'm going to go to the second page, and we're going to try a couple of the problems on the second page, and then your expectation is to do some of the problems I'm going to assign to you, and then the exit ticket. But like I said, there's going to be some harder questions, and I will I will have a video on that as well so you guys can understand that. Okay, let's move on. All right. So again, I might be going a little fast, but I think we can hopefully can get it. All right. So let's look at this. So 2x to the power of 2, y to the negative 3, z to the second. So we're looking to rewrite all negative values and negative exponents. So the negative exponent is right here. I think we can see that. It's pretty obvious. Okay. So we got to move that portion of it down to the bottom. So if we rewrite this thing, we have 2x to the second. Then we have z to the second. Okay. If I can get this thing is really lagging on me here, so it doesn't want to. There you go. And then we want to move this, so this is going to go to the bottom. Y to the negative 3. Okay. And that would be the answer. Oh, I'm sorry, not negative. That should be positive. Whoops. Sorry, guys. Let me rewrite that. Keep writing negative. There you go. Okay. So that's how it would work. Again, we just find what the negative is and put it to the bottom. So let's look at this one right here. So we have 1/4, a negative 2, b to the 5th, c to the negative 3. Okay. So what's the negative? Boom. One right here and one right here. So these two are going to go on the bottom. Now, one thing I have to show you is this fraction here. So this is the 1 is in the numerator and the 4 is at the bottom, which is the denominator. So whatever goes on the bottom has to go with the 4. Okay. So let me show you what I mean. So basically, I have 1 times, and the only thing that stays on top is b to the 5th because that's positive. Over, then we have a squared, so that's going to go on the bottom. So that's a squared. Okay, and then we have the other one, c to the power of 3. So that's going to stay in the bottom. So therefore, after I take out the 1, it's going to be b to the 5, b to the 5th, over a to the second, c to the third. And that will be the answer to that. Okay? So here we go. Here's a problem that gets a little bit harder for you guys. Okay? So again, we're going to talk about the law of exponents with this. All right? And how to work this. Okay? So we have two expressions here. We have 3 to the power of 4, and we have 3 to the power of 7. Okay, we can expand this out if we want to and go 3 times 3 times 3 times 3, and this one is 3 times 3 times 7 times, and then we can negate them all. But we know from the law of exponents, you need to use the quotient rule here. Okay, hopefully you remember that and didn't play all video games all weekend and then don't remember this stuff. Okay, because I understand, it's hard not to, but at least try some of the stuff and hopefully you retain it. Okay, so the quotient rule basically means if we have the same bases of 3 and 3, and they're both divided from each other, 3 divided by 3, then we have to take 4 and 7, and we have to minus from each other. Okay, so 4 minus 7. So if we remember from integers, what you did in the do now, 4 minus 7 is negative 3. Okay, so therefore our answer is going to look like this. 1 over 3 to the negative 3. Okay. Now, since that's the case, we want to remember the rule is we want to rewrite everything to positive integers. So how do we turn this into positive? Well, we do the opposite of what we just did before. So if we ever have a negative on the bottom, then we move to the bottom. If we have a negative on the bottom, we got to move to the top. So then our final value is going to be 3 to the positive 3. And that will be the answer to that question. Okay. I know that's kind of difficult. And everybody's like, what the heck? This is hard. But I think after a while, you guys can, a couple of weeks of this, you guys will start getting this and getting it well. But like I said, this is definitely a difficult concept. I am going to stop it here. And like I said, I do have some harder questions right here. if you want to take a look at them. I have a really hard question and I have a hard question, but like I said, I will keep those on the video for you at Google Classroom so you can see those. But like I said, as long as you're able to get that a negative exponent needs to be is to take the opposite of it, so it needs to be 1 over a value. That would be great, and hopefully you can get these answers. But most of the questions are going to be something like this on the work today, okay, and the exit ticket. All right, we'll see you all, guys, and I appreciate you listening, and we'll talk soon. Bye now. Can turn this off.